Hey everyone! Welcome to Showcase 6 Video 2. You're about to see all the entrants for our 6th showcase, which was to create a flag with exactly 4 colors. 28 of you will be participating, so competition is going to be mighty. And don't forget, we also have the Flag This Ghost Flag. As usual, we're not going to reveal who the creators of the flags are in this video, so you won't know which flag is ours. But don't worry, in the next video, when we reveal the results, we will reveal all the creators. And just before we reveal the flags, the link to the ranking form is in the video description where you can rank each flag on a scale of 0 to 10. So let's check out the flags. First up is this flag for a fictional country called Nofi. The light blue represents the oceans that border the nation. Red represents the blood of those who fought for the nation's independence. The yellow circle represents the nation's wealth. The fire in the middle of the circle represents the burning hope of those who fought for the nation. The star in the fire represents a bright future. Next is the flag for an alternate history Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. The eagle represents bravery, the white represents peace, the red represents blood, and the blue represents pride. Next is the flag of the fictional country Shawaki. The diagonal design and the shape of the diamond represents the diamond-like shape of the country, while the green stripe represents the fact that the equator line goes through the middle of the island. The blue represents the ocean and the Shaw whales, which is the national animal. The yellow represents the sandy beaches and the sun because it is the country that wakes up first. The green represents the green paint that covers most of the buildings. The orange represents the national fruit, the tangerine. Next is a flag designed for Dak Lak province in Vietnam. The orange represents the land, the sun, and the revolution. The navy blue represents the water, and the green represents the jungle and the fields. These colors are divided by 3 thin white stripes representing hope, a bright future, and peace. 15 stars represent the city, town, and 13 other districts that make up the province. Next, we have the fictional country of Fidas. Gold symbolizes wealth, blue represents water, red symbolizes the blood of those who fought for independence. Green represents nature, while the star represents the country. Next is the imperial flag of the city-state of Loin. The proportions of this flag are 1:1, making it a square flag. The 5 borders of red, yellow, blue, yellow, and red represent the number of hills surrounding the city. The 7 stripes at the center of the flag on the white field represent the number of districts within the city. At the center of these 7 stripes is a 16-pointed compass with a blue outline and with a yellow circle in the middle of it. This represents the importance of science and exploration. In the case of the former, the points surrounding the yellow circle could also represent rays of light, giving it a sun-like look. In the case of the latter, the compass represents the exploration of places and oceans far away. The following is the symbolism of the colors. White represents purity and peacefulness of the once mighty city-state. Blue represents the seas that helped build the history of the place. Yellow represents the wealth of its land and its people. And red represents the vitality of the city-state of Loin, as well as the love its citizens has for the place. Next is an alternative flag for Iran. The 4 colors represent the ethnic groups of Iran. Blue represents Azeri, Turkic, and Balaki peoples. Yellow represents the Kurds and Lurs. Red represents the Persians, Gilaks, and Mazandaris. And finally, the black represents Arabs. These colors also represent the landscape and resources of Iran. Blue for the Persian Gulf, Caspian Sea, and Iran's sky. Yellow for agriculture and the deserts of Iran. Red for sumac, which is a very popular spice in Iran, and the blood-red sand of Hormuz Island. And black for the immense underground resources present in Iran, in other words, their oil. The colors of the flag also stand for the kindness of Iran's peoples, blue, their dedication to work to improve their country, yellow, their sacrifice and patriotism, red, and the dark past, black, that they are determined to leave behind, which is why it's on the bottom of the flag. As a whole, the flag stands for the unification of all ethnicities of Iran, whose unity is as essential as the landscape of Iran itself. Next is this flag. The creator didn't specify what the flag represents, but the following is the symbolism. White represents peace, red represents the life of the world, yellow represents the world we live in, and black represents happiness. Next is the flag of the Horn of Africa, the large peninsula on the east of Africa, which consists of the 4 countries of Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia, and the de facto state of Somaliland. It is basically an amalgamation of the features used in the aforementioned countries. It consists of a horizontal triband, seen in flags of Somaliland and Ethiopia, in the ever-common Pan-African colors of green, yellow, and red. A blue chevron by the hoist is similar to that of Eritrea's, colored in sky blue from Djibouti and Somalia flag. Centered within that triangle is the Eritrean emblem and a 5-pointed star, which is also seen on the Somalia and Djibouti flags. Like with other Pan-African flags, the red stands for bloodshed, yellow signifies hope, whilst the green represents richness and fertility of the land. The blue represents the sea and the sky. The 5 points of the star represent the 5 nations that make up the Horn of Africa. Next is a personal banner. The choice of colors was inspired by the primary colors used in traditional art mediums. The creator was also inspired by national flags that he really likes. He tried to get a blue color close to a shade of Japanese blue dye called izomi, which is his favorite color, and it's why it is so prominent. The red chosen was also inspired by Japanese culture. The red is like that of the Hinomaru mark of the sun in the banner of Japan. The golden yellow color is his favorite shade of yellow. It reminds him of aspen or ginkgo leaves in autumn and the soft glow of Japanese lanterns. One of the reasons he loves Japan is the appreciation and harmony of its traditional culture with nature. The cross-shaped star in the upper hoist is called Hakusei, which means North Star. He also sometimes calls it Way Star. The star is a fusion of 2 other things that are important to him. Firstly, it's a symbol of Christianity. Secondly, it symbolizes his love for northern climates, especially boreal forest. Since ancient times, the North Star has guided merchants, explorers, and conquerors alike. So he adopted this symbol as a personal mark similar to that of a heraldic shield or Japanese kamen crest. Altogether, the flag as a whole looks something like the North Star shining as the sun sets westward towards Asia. The banner ratio is 1:2 with a swallowtail that measures 2:3 at its apex. This is a reference to the 2 most common flag ratios like Canada and Japan. The colors symbolize the following ideas. Blue is for nobility, the kind that seeks humble and patient spiritual growth, not to be confused with moral conceit. Red is for perseverance, seek to strive and endure and be content with life. Gold is for wisdom, seek knowledge and sound teaching and apply it to life. White is for harmony, seek to maintain balance in life, doing what is best in each circumstance. There is a time for justice and a time for mercy. Next is the flag of the fruity one. The color green at the top represents the fruit of the lime. The color purple in the center of the fruity flag represents the fruit of the grape. The color of yellow at the bottom of the fruity flag represents the fruit of the lemon. The head skull helmet in the middle represents the fruity one, and it represents the fruit of the kiwi fruit. Next is the flag of San Andres. San Andres is a landlocked town encompassing most of Fort Bonifacio, as well as former parts of neighboring cities of Makati to the north and Taguig to the south. The flag of San Andres is a diagonally quartered red and blue field with a white saltire, representing San Andres for Andres Bonifacio, on whom the fort was named after, and a golden yellow star in the middle with 5 points to represent the 5 barangays: North Fort, BGC, South Fort, most of southern Fort Bonifacio, Taguig, northern Bicutan, northern part of western Bicutan, Pinagsama, Amianan, northwestern part of Pinagsama, and Pinagsama, Sinirangan, northeastern part of Pinagsama. Next is the fictional country of Altazia. The blue represents the oceans and seas of Altazia and also represents the lakes inside the country. The red represents the bloodshed on the swords of the people who fought for independence against the French. The white represents peace and hope for the future of Altazia. The black represents the Altazian sky at midnight, and the crescent and moon represents 3 things. One of them is the religion of Altazia, which is Islam. The other meaning is that the star and crescent inside the black represent the 2 biggest islands of Altazia, and the night sky of Altazia and the star and crescent represent the moon and a star. Next is the Kohavashavit Democratic Republic. Blue represents peace, yellow symbolizes the happiness of the people when they're ruled by the dictator, orange represents the blood of the people, the white star represents the good dictator. The symbol represents the loyalty of the people to the dictator and how happiness and life protect the dictator. Next, we have a flag that represents New Year's Day. The star represents the start of a brand new year. Black represents midnight, in which everyone celebrating the holiday counts down towards. Yellow represents the overwhelming energy of the people when the clock finally hits midnight and the new year starts. Blue represents the many resolutions that come along with it, and white represents the hope that the new year is better than the previous. Next is a proposed four corners flag. The four colors represent the four states of the corners. The red represents the hot climate in Arizona. The yellow represents the deserts in Utah. The green represents the Mexican heritage in New Mexico. The blue represents the Colorado River. The circle in the middle represents the Four Corners Monument. Each color section of the circle is diagonal to the section of the background in which the color is present. This represents the diagonal borders. Next is a flag for humanity. The flag has a swallowtail shape similar to the flag of Ohio. However, it makes use of the number 5, thus following the so-called golden ratio like the flag of Togo in several proportions. And even the shades of blue and purple have approximately the rate of 5:1 in their rate of red, green, and blue. This black symbolizes ingenuity and our quest for knowledge. Blue symbolizes creativity and our attraction to beauty. White symbolizes consciousness and our aspiration for wisdom, and the dark pink symbolizes emotion and our desire for harmony. Intentionally, the four colors don't take up equal areas to reflect that all these aspects of the human condition are pronounced differently in every human being. Next, we have a flag for the British Union. The reigning cloud represents England's weather. The red represents England and Northern Ireland. The green represents Wales, and the blue represents Scotland. The Nordic cross represents the flags of each country in the UK, as many of them have crosses. Next, we have the flag for the fictional Green-Blue Islands. Red symbolizes the blood of the soldiers that died in World War II. Blue represents the coastal rivers in one of their islands. Green represents the hills that made everything slightly tilted. Black symbolizes the unknown past and future of the country. Next is the flag of the Srivijaya Empire. The flag features a red disc, which represents the sun over the yellow horizon, while it looks down on the Indian and Pacific Oceans. The ocean itself is depicted as white and blue to reflect the real thing. The flag was inspired by some traveling missionary who decided to paint a portrait of the horizon one day while they were on a pilgrimage to India to study Buddhism and Hinduism, as the Srivijaya people were very artistic and had a love for the sea. They also have quite the taste for religion, as white represents Vajrayana Buddhism, blue represents Mahayana Buddhism, yellow represents Hinduism, while red represents unity between the three. The sun represents both the Hindu sun god Surya and the universal force of Buddhism. The sun and sky together represent radiance and victory, while the ocean represents strength and discipline. The colors themselves represent the following virtues and countries: red for valor and Malaysia and Indonesia, yellow for knowledge and China and Korea, white for harmony and India and Bangladesh, and blue for loyalty and Thailand and Cambodia. Next is a redesign for the flag of Cabra, which is a town located in Andalusia, Spain. Red represents bravery, yellow represents brightness, white represents peace, green represents nature. Red and yellow are the colors of the Spanish flag. Green and white are the colors on the Andalusian flag. The hoist design represents people's unity. The fly design represents individuality. Next is a flag that represents the apocalypse. Each color symbolizes one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: white for tyranny, red for war, black for famine, and gray for plagues. The way these 4 colors are displayed on the flag is to convey the idea that each horseman causes the coming of the next one. The first horseman is tyranny. Tyranny leads to war. War makes food scarce and therefore causes famine, and when people haven't got enough food to eat, their bodies are weaker and more likely to catch diseases that will spread across the land. Finally, the context of a deadly plague that kills many people is fertile ground for a tyrant to rise up and seize power, bringing things back to the first horseman of the apocalypse, and so on like an endless loop. Next up is this flag. The creator didn't specify what the flag represents, but here is the symbolism. Blue symbolizes the ocean, red represents the blood of the people who fought in World War II. The 2 circles that are light show peace and unity. The yellow circle represents war. Next is the flag of a fictional Arab country called Fland. The black represents Arabs, yellow symbolizes the sun, red represents Mercury, White represents safety from the sun. Next is a faraway kingdom called the Kingdom of Arboland. This country is a small, independent kingdom located deep down wild and secluded lands, and as such, most of its territory is covered by a dark, thick forest, the Forest of Arbol. During its long history, this kingdom became a refuge for all kinds of artists who were persecuted by the neighboring countries of Nada and Soso during the Great War of the Titans for supporting peace through their art. One of them, who was appointed by the king as the official artist of the court, designed the current flag. It consists of a dark blue field which represents the dark skies above and around Arboland, as the country is very covered by forests, a black tree outline, and soil to represent the national tree, the fir, as well as the soil, combined with a red disc that symbolizes the bright sun piercing through the trees, and the red of the violence of the past war that forced the artist to come to Arboland. All is separated by a white layer that represents harmony, peace, and the absence of conflict between anyone through art. Next is the flag of a hypothetical nation called the Korolevets Baltic Republic. This is a future where the Kaliningrad province of Russia, an exclave surrounded by EU countries in our time, becomes independent and changes its name to Korolevets, meaning King's Hill. This is the historical Russian translation of Königsberg, the German name of the city Kaliningrad before 1945. Blue, red, and yellow are taken from the current flag of Kaliningrad Oblast. To these, green is added. Blue represents the Baltic Sea to the west of the country. Yellow symbolizes amber. The Baltic shore has the world's largest deposit of amber. Green represents the forests and fields further inland. The specific shade is forest green. The red symbol is a mythical fern flower from Baltic and Slavic mythologies. This specific design is taken from a traditional East Slavic embroidery art called rushnik. This signifies that the people living there post-1945 are Russians, Belarusians, and Ukrainians all mixed together. Next is the flag of Ryan. It's named Ryan because the creator thinks it sounds cool. Red stands for the red color. Green stands for the green color. Blue stands for the blue color, and the white stands for polar bears. Next is the flag of Coronisia, an island country off the coast of the U.S. East Coast. Blue symbolizes the ocean surrounding the country, while white represents unity. Black stands for the ethnic heritage of many Coronisians, and yellow represents the country's riches. The 8 points of the star symbolize the 8 islands of Coronisia. And finally, we have the flag of a fictional town called Skyville. The town is situated on a vast flat plain which gives residents an unspoiled view of the sky. The laws of the town prevent the construction of buildings higher than 25 feet, which helps maintain the sky views throughout the town. The flag pays homage to the glorious night and day sky. The upper hoist represents the black night sky with a white crescent moon. The yellow stripe represents the power of the sun, which provides energy and light to the townspeople. The blue represents the brilliant daily blue sky looking down on the town. So those were all the flags. Be sure to have your say by ranking all the flags on the ranking form. The closing date for voting is June 25th, 2022. We will try to get the results video published as soon as we can after the closing date. The flag with the highest score will have their flag reviewed in that video. Best of luck, everyone, and may the best flag win.